Welcome, everybody, to the Heal Your Hunger Show. So happy to have you here. It is a great day to be alive, and I'm super excited about today's guest. We are going to nerd out on biohacking your upcoming surgery, okay, or post-surgery. We cover everything pre, during, post. So my guest, Zora Benhamou, is a gerontologist and biohacker dedicated to challenging the menopause stigma and ageist stereotypes. She's a dynamic host of the Hack My Age podcast. She focuses on empowering women navigating the menopausal transition through biohacking tech. She's 54 years of age, and she recently had a surgery. And she said, instead of talking about menopause, we can talk about all the amazing things you can do to have a successful surgery by preparing your body. And I said, yes, let's do that. So this is going to be super interesting. You'll want to grab a pen and paper to take all the notes you can for all the different things she is suggesting. Doesn't mean you have to do all of them. Don't get overwhelmed, but boy, oh boy, don't you want to have the best outcome possible when you have surgery? My goodness, why do anything less than have maximum best results? Okay. Now, if you're here at the Heal Your Hunger Show for the first time, don't forget to take the quiz on the website, healyourhunger.com. It's a quiz that'll tell you if you're an emotional eater or a food addict or somewhere in between. And that's the best thing you can do if you are an emotional eater and you are looking for solutions. So I'm just going to put that in there, let you know that that's always important if you want to lose weight and keep it off, or if you've recently lost weight and you don't want to put it back on again. Okay, so check out that free quiz at healyourhunger.com. And now on with the show and my amazing guest, Zora Benhamou. This is going to be awesome. Welcome, Zora. Glad to have you here.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, great to have you. I'm thrilled that we're going to be talking about hacks for surgery. I've never covered this on my show before, and it's a fantastic topic, and it's hard-won hacks because this comes from your personal experience. Normally, we'd be talking about menopause and all kinds of stuff, but you have your own story to tell about surgery. Can we start there?
Yes. Now, this is an episode for anyone who's going to get a surgery or just recovering from one, because I have learned so much after 2 hip replacements, total hip replacements within 3 months. And I'm in a biohacking world. I have the podcast and I have interviewed amazing doctors, regenerative medicine experts. I have my own as well. And I've been given so many tools and I've been able to test them out literally twice within 3 months. And so I picked up a lot of interesting things. So my journey personally is I'm 54 and I have to get 2 total hip replacements. It's insane. And I won't explain exactly why. I just have hip osteoarthritis, and there's I kind of had all of the risk factors for that. And shit happens. I'm very healthy. I've always been very active, and I'm more on the athletic side. And it just happened. So I tried very, very hard to avoid surgery, and I was very successful for many, many years. So I'm going to give you some hacks for anyone who's like really not ready for surgery, and then what can we do for a little bit of relief as well. But going into surgery is really, really important to dial in your body and being able to have it strong so that you can come out even better and stronger and recover very fast. Now, if you don't care about recovering fast and like you want to take the long road, go your way. But if not, then you're going to want to really hear some of these things. And because when you are told, especially when you're younger and you're told you have this disease, it's an inflammatory disease of the joints. It's not osteoporosis, which is bone density loss, which my bones are very strong. I have good bones, but it's the joints have got some inflammation there. And what it does,
Okay.
it wears down the cartilage, and then you create these bone spurs, and then you lose range of motion, and that's just very painful. So I got to the point where I just could barely walk. So let alone getting in a car, getting into a bathtub, riding a bike. I mean, daily activities, sex with my husband. I had to be so blunt. it was hard. It was painful. And so that
Yeah.
kind of went out the tube. So that affects your relationships. It affects your mood. And you can go down this really bad path of negative thinking, right? You feel alone, you feel old, there's a stigma behind it, and you're just in a lot of pain. You're living with chronic pain, and it's very debilitating. And so I'm a very positive person. I'm like, okay, I can sit there and wallow and feel bad for myself, or I can get out of this. And it's really sad because nobody's sharing this information. And you especially women who are like, I'm looking always for women, people like me who are maybe athletic, and just you don't feel like you belong in this category. And until finally found some women, but I've been sharing it on my podcast, I've been sharing it on my social media, and I get a lot of feedback from women who are saying me too. And so I want to sort of open that up. So you are not alone. If you're living with chronic pain, you don't have to live with this pain. Please do something about it. So
Yeah, and let me
yeah.
just say, this is one of the times when modern medicine really rocks. I mean, the technology now, the ways like you replaced your hip twice, like both sides of your hip, I guess is what we're doing here. Like I mean, it's incredible. And you're here and you're up and about. And so, I mean, the speed of recovery, just even from this surgery, if you don't do the hacks, is not what it once was, right? It's better than ever, but you're just going to speed it up even more with these hacks. But thank goodness, we have the ability with modern medicine to make these replacements, to get a new knee, a new hip, whatever, any other things as well. It's a beautiful thing, but we have to work with, right, with the doctors. We have to work with what's being done by getting ourselves prepared to go through it with the most ease and grace and health, and setting ourselves up to enjoy what's just been done, for many, many years to come. So back to you.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Thank God for modern medicine. And I resisted for a long time. And I think anyone who's told to do surgery, it's the last resort. And there are many
Yeah.
things you can do. And I really still believe that there are a lot of people who probably get unnecessary surgeries. So not like all pro surgery, but I'm not anti either. It's just a time, and you will know when that time is.
I've heard so many friends who have said I shouldn't have waited so long. Like, I mean, my former husband, he went everywhere possible to find out how to not have his hip replacement surgery, but he was in so much pain for so long. And as soon as he did it, I mean, very quickly he was up and running. And then he literally, into his late 70s, was walking like 5 to 7 miles a day. It was unbelievable. And he's like, I wasted 5 years of my life avoiding surgery. So I think that's a very common thing. It sounds scary. Sounds like you're going to be laid up for, months on end. Nobody has the time for that. But oh my gosh, we can feel better faster when it's right, when the timing's, not the timing, because I think a lot of times people can do it sooner than they do, but at least, if it's the right choice for you, doing it sooner rather than later can buy back so much of your life and mobility.
Absolutely. And you just need to talk to someone who's had a hip replacement or a knee replacement or whatever, fixing whatever, and you hear their stories. And that was really convincing to me. And I just needed to be in the right mindset. So I tried a lot of things, and some things that worked for me that people can explore was platelet-rich plasma injections, hyaluronic acid injections. I did some very painful massages that brought a little bit of relief. Red light therapy, get some of these devices, and there's ice bathing. So some of these things would bring some relief, and they bought me time. I have to say, they really bought me time because I was looking for something. But it got to the
So
point.
these were everything you just mentioned is pre-surgery. This is trying to avoid surgery.
This is trying to avoid surgery. If you
Okay,
want to
got
buy
it.
time, because some people are like, I just can't do the surgery right now.
Right.
I'm in the middle of, I don't know what, X or Y and Z, and I'm living with chronic pain. So to relieve, so you can use, I just want to give some hacks, to some rabbit holes to go down if you are looking for just relief, buying time. But once you've made that decision and you're like, okay, I'm going to do the surgery, you have to train for your surgery. And rehab is that one of those also avoiding surgery hacks, right? go to your physio, go to your rehab, get that. And because if you go down the path towards surgery, you're going to need your muscles to be strong. And that is really important. So a lot of people just go, you know what? I'm just going to wait until start training until after the surgery. They don't take care of their diet. They don't take care of their exercise. And you're not helping the doctor to help you. So really dial in, go to your rehab, do your exercises, whatever that is for your knee, your hip, your joints, and get that done, because you're going to need it anyways, pre and post surgery. The nutrition piece, okay, please don't. I know it's so hard because you think, oh, I'm not going to the gym, and you just don't feel, you feel low and you feel depressed. And so who feels like eating salmon and broccoli? I mean, no one. So but you have to treat yourself like a 5-year-old. You say, look, I have to get my nutrition dialed up. And most important is your protein, because protein it breaks down into amino acids, which are the building blocks for your muscles and your tissue and all of the fibers in your body. So you're going to have to up that up, and if you can, before the surgery start. And I would like to keep things simple, like, well, how much? In general, let's say 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So if you're 150 pounds, just go for 150 grams of protein per day. That's kind of a minimum, and you're going to want to increase it a little bit more.
Wait, how do you do that? That's a lot of protein.
It's a lot of protein. So my hack is to get essential amino acids, because pure essential amino acids, you can do protein shakes and whey protein and all that, but that protein has to break down anyways into the essential amino acids, and not everything gets broken down. And as we age, our bodies are not able to digest as well the proteins into amino acids. They're just not as efficient. But taking an essential amino acid supplement, whether it's a powder or a pill, that's like the highway to get the essential amino acids into the body. So that's what I did. I just kept drinking it and pounding those pills.
It's good to know you don't have to do all that in red meat.
Yeah. It's important to get your whatever food, eat your chicken, your fish, whatever, your lentils, get that in your body. And because you need whatever, there are other nutrients in there that you need, but it's so hard to get, like, you know how hard it is to eat protein, right? So getting the protein shakes and essential amino acids are a fabulous hack. And I want you to bring that into the hospital too. And I want you to, if you're staying the night, and then I want you to be eating that again after, even more so. And if you can, just keep increasing. It's really hard to overdo the essential amino acids because your body needs it so badly. And the other thing that when it comes to nutrition is get the anti-inflammatory diet, right? Whatever that means to you. And that's mostly, real food, whole foods, vegetables, fruit, what's good for you. This is the time you really got to up your game, because you're trying to lower inflammation right now. And then, of course, after the surgery, same deal. But usually post-surgery, you don't feel so hungry, right? Like, I don't feel like eating at much. And I'm going to have another hack for you when you get to the post-surgery, but we're still in the pre-surgery phase. I had 2 weeks to prepare for my surgery before I finally found it, but I've been, hacking my age for years now. So I've been kind of doing this, but I did have 2 weeks to just bump it up another notch. But if you can do this months in advance, even better. And lower those processed foods, deal with any gut issues that you have or your intolerances. Like, right now is the time to do it before the surgery. Maybe make that surgery a goal that can help you really dial things in. And then going a little bit back to the exercise, one fabulous hack I did for maintaining muscle mass, because you want to get lean for your surgery. And I know you're probably like, well, how am I going to do that? So you do your rehab, and because you can't, especially if you have a knee or a hip injury or problem, you can't put impact there. So it's really, really hard. But what I did was I dialed in my nutrition, increased the protein, and I used katsu bands. These are bands that you put on your arms, upper arms, or your upper legs. And they inflate for 30 seconds with air and then deflate for 5 seconds. And it's a cyclical motion and a partial restriction of the blood flow in the body that activates growth hormone. And it does a lot of other things we won't talk about, because right now we just want to talk about muscle, and it builds muscle with practically no exercise. I'm not saying don't do your exercise. You got to do it. But for those who are injured, those who are getting surgery, it's unbelievable, the research that's out there. And Katsu's just a brand. Okay. And I like that brand. But if you Google PubMed blood flow restriction, you're going to find a lot of research on that. You'll find the bodybuilders and you're going to find the rehab people.
And do you know, yeah, do you know, I actually interviewed Joe Mercola at one point about that. That was the whole topic of the podcast, because his parents died and he's like, I needed to get them better muscle mass and all this. And he talked about that. It was really fascinating.
Yeah. Okay. So you're up on it. Go listen to that episode, people. Have that in the show notes, because it's such a great hack that so few people know about. And I'm a gerontologist. And so we study aging and longevity and focus on older adults. Nowhere in my studies, nowhere I hear about blood flow restriction. Of course, there's some contraindications, but for example, Katsu is quite safe for older adults. And anyways, I digress, but go and build your muscle. Your job is to build muscle and get lean. If you are overweight, it just exacerbates the situation. And I know it's a tall order to ask, but if you can just motivate yourself because you want to recover more quickly, do it. And you can also work non-injured sites. Like if you have a hip issue, then go work the upper body, right? You can, or if you have shoulder replacement, then go and work the lower body. We can still do a lot of other things. And I want to tell you, if you're getting a knee or a hip replacement on your right leg, let's say, well, then you're going to have to depend a lot on your left leg. You're going to be practically doing pistol squats because you've got to pick up something off the floor. Something drops and you're like, oh, how do I get it? You got to use those muscles in the quote unquote good leg to be able to do certain things, to sit on a toilet, to just get up off a couch. You're not going to be putting your weight, like all your weight, on the operated leg. So you do depend on that. So that's why if you have no muscle mass anywhere, how are you going to get around?
Yeah.
And you don't think about these things. There are studies showing, and I won't talk about the study because we won't have time, but basically if you exercise at least once a week, you will still maintain a lot of your, significantly preserve your muscle that you have, if you can just stay consistent once a week. And
that is not a big ask.
It's not a big ask. No. So we're all like, oh, if I don't exercise, I'm going to lose all my muscle. Not if you train at least once a week.
Yeah.
It's fabulous. There are a lot of studies on that. But the other thing is, if you're a woman, you want to get your hormones dial those in, whether it's through hormone therapy or just balancing your hormone with supplements. I don't care, because you need to get your sleep. You don't want to have night sweats all the time, because after surgery, you're still in a lot of pain, and you need to sleep, because when you sleep, well, growth hormone is released, and then you can recover better if you sleep. I always say sleep is medicine. So try to make sleep a priority. Practice your sleep hygiene, whatever that may be. If you like tea before bed, or if you like to take a bath, or if you just put your phone away an hour before bed, you can wind down. And then, of course, if you're on hormone therapy, look into progesterone. That should help a lot with your sleep. So yeah, we want to get your hormones balanced. And if you want to know about supplements, I want you to get a pen and paper now, because there's some very fundamental supplements that I think are very important before and after the surgery. And what I'm going to tell you now, I want you to have them before and after. So essential amino acids, which I already spoke about, get a good quality one. Get your protein. I prefer whey protein, but any kind of protein is better than no protein, like a protein powder, because that you're probably not going to feel very hungry after, or it's hard to fit it all in. Creatine monohydrate. This is really great and helps with the building of muscle. It's very supportive. It's also great for your brain. Consider you're going to have a lot of medication flowing through you, and it's what's happening. It's flowing all through the body, including the brain. Collagen is another great one. And I really recommend taking anything that has the trademark Fortigel. And there's a lot of brands out there, but just go look on the ingredient list. Fortigel's got a lot of great research behind it as being a superior type of collagen. NACs, N-acetylcysteine, that helps with inflammation and it helps just overall detox. Urolithin A is another one. And this is, again, great for keeping muscle strength and for inflammation, which we really need. And to get a good bone supplement, whatever, it'll probably have some calcium, magnesium, vitamin D3 and K2, maybe some boron. There's one that's recommended by some osteoporosis doctors called Algae Cow. You got all that stuff in it. And a good mineral supplement. And I like one called Beam because it's like, it's like a liquid. You just drink it, which is so awesome. And it tastes like nothing. But get your minerals, get these kinds of things. And if you're on blood thinners or like omegas, I'm sure your doctor will probably tell you to stop that a week or so before the operation. But obviously, check with all these supplements, check with your doctor, right? If whether you're taking them in or taking them out, I don't know what your condition is. So these are just things to run by your doctor.
I'm so glad we're doing this episode because this is like people need to bookmark this episode because, and I think I'm just going to say, the biggest aha for me right now, Zora, is the fact that you can co-create your results from this surgery. Like you are not a passive player here. You are actively creating the results when you prepare your body, when you get the right supplementation and the right nutrients into your body, you are just maximizing the results from this surgery. Like you're not just going to wait for the doctor to do it to you. You are going to create your results. And so I love that message. It's so empowering, and proactive. So keep going.
You control all of this if you want, right? One really cool hack, again, run this by your doctor. It's a little crazy. You'll probably have some x-rays before your surgery. And I did a great podcast episode with Dr. Jen Simmons, who's all about breasts and mammograms and breast cancer and all this stuff.
I just saw her last week. Yep.
Oh, you did? Oh,
Yep,
cool.
yeah,
Okay.
she's a friend.
She's awesome. So what
Yep.
she says, if you're going to get a mammogram, an x-ray, anything with radiation, to offset the radiation, she said, take 1 to 2 grams of liposomal vitamin C, plus, get this, it's kind of crazy, 100 to 200 milligrams of melatonin. Normally people take 0.5, 0.3, 0.5, up to 3 milligrams of melatonin. So when you're asking someone to do 100 to 200, it's nuts. But
Okay.
but I did it. So what you do is not just take this, you take this 1 hour before the x-ray or mammogram, 3 hours after the x-ray, and then for another 3 days. And
Wow.
again, run this by your doctor. I did it. And I got a little, I didn't feel sleepy until until the second round, not with the first, hour, but when I did it 3 hours later, a little sleepy, but then boom, I had a second wind and I was like, okay, but I did wake up a little groggy. But you offset that by just going outside in the sunshine and you will set your circadian rhythm again. But it's if you're concerned about radiation, it's a cool hack.
Beautiful.
Now, operation day. Okay. You're going to ask your doctor, what should you bring? Ask about post-operative care. Ask your doctor questions. Make a list. My doctor didn't tell me much. You're going to take to the hospital. If you're going to spend the night, take your essential amino acids, and you're probably not going to be hungry. And I said this many times, usually after a surgery, I wasn't very hungry. Some people feel nauseous. It's very common from all the anesthesia, all the medication, all the painkillers. But you need nutrients, you need food, you need proteins, you need things. And so I took spirulina and chlorella. They sell it in powders, but I like to take these little tiny, they're like baby aspirin size bits. They're called energy bits. And I just pound those.
You chew them, right? And your teeth turn green. I've done this.
Yeah. I tried chewing them. It's not the greatest. I just swallow them. And since they're teeny tiny,
Okay. Yeah, that's better. Don't chew them.
And And yeah, and I mean, I did this podcast episode with Catherine Arnston, and she said that I remember it was like 5 bowls of fruit and vegetable nutrients of 5 fruits and vegetable bowls in just one little tiny baby aspirin size energy bit. Whether it's true or not, okay. But I know that there's nutrients in there. It's a really easy way to get it in. So, because you can try, I mean, what I did was I brought a bottle with me, just a water bottle. I put my essential amino acids there. You could put spirulina and chlorella there. Chlorella is great for the detox after, all this medication you've got. And I took bone broth. I didn't mix it all together. I just took my own bone broth because that's a great way to get collagen in. And if you are getting a knee or a hip replacement, one really cool hack that one of my women in my community told me about before I even went to the surgery was getting one of these long elastic bands that you kind of train with. And when you need to sit down on the bed, if you go to the toilet, you try to be independent because you're always calling the nurse and all that. After a while, I was able to put this band on my leg, and I managed to get my leg up on the bed by myself. So I love
Nice
that little
job.
tip. Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, and bring earplugs, eye masks. You don't know, who's going to be or what kind of noise, because usually nurses come in all hours of the night to take your blood
Right.
pressure. They take things, and you're just like, boom, bright lights. So it's nice to have an eye mask and some earplugs. And you'll probably want to take some kind of a laxative because when you get a surgery, your body like shuts down. I've
Yeah.
been told by a hospital, like when I was getting a C-section, it was like 24 years ago, they wouldn't let me out of the hospital until I had a bowel movement. I was like, oh God.
Okay.
So yeah, you got to try to get things flowing. I like, there's plenty of stuff on the market, but I like this one by, what was it called? Theranordic, and it's called Move, but go and look at the ingredients. If you can't get that one, get something that has,
That's smooth. There's
helps.
smooth move tea, right? That's really
Yeah,
Mhm.
whatever you need. Yeah, because you just need to get things flowing.
Yeah.
Now we're going to run through the post-operation hacks. I'll try to go
Okay.
very quickly. The job
Great.
is to reduce inflammation, preserve and or build muscle mass, and build bone. You got to build it back up. All the tissues have been broken, all the bones have been probably manipulated, and you want a detox because you just had so much stuff pumped into you. And I really encourage people, take the medicine, take the painkillers. You don't want to be in pain. You can detox all that stuff later. Don't try to like be a hero and not take these medications. You need them. You need to be out of pain. So same supplements as before, but now we want to add some anti-inflammatories like turmeric and NAC and omegas, fish oil. You can bring those back in. Then you want to detox, probably something with charcoal, broccoli sprouts, chlorella, glutathione, something to clean out the liver, anything that zeolites, bentonite clay. You see, you'll probably just Google detox and you'll find all kinds of stuff. Just get anything is better than nothing. And then
And what are
if
we
you want,
detoxing?
you're detoxing from the medications, the anesthetics,
Okay.
and the painkillers.
Okay.
So you're just pumped full of stuff. And so you accept, you say yes, and then you just get rid of that because it takes a toll on your liver. It takes a toll on your brain. You may even want to take some kind of a brain supplement. I like the one from Qualia. It's called Qualia Mind. It's got a lot of mushrooms in there. Just clear all that stuff out because it lingers and then it can cause other problems. So get that out of you. You can do a sauna. You can do red light saunas. You can do red light therapy. You sweat, pee, and poo it all out is basically what you want to do. And if you want to take it next level, these are amazing biohacks that I got from a doctor, from a medical doctor. And it's not gonna be easy to get them, and your doctor may not even know what this is. The first one is called nandrolone decant, and it's actually a steroid, an anabolic steroid, and it's got a bad rap. But when you use it in smaller dosages and it's in controlled, appropriate dosages, it really helps you recover because it helps preserve the lean mass and it helps the muscles recovery and even improves the bone density. You talk to your doctor about it. It's a drug. You got to get it from your doctor. And you can always, everything I'm going to say next, I was recommended by Dr. Elizabeth Yorth from Boulder Longevity Institute. You just got to interview her. She's next level regenerative medicine. And
Okay.
I'll introduce you. She's fabulous. So she helped me with that. Then BPC 157 is a peptide. It comes in many different forms, nasal, you can take it with the supplement, but if you're really looking for recovery for a major surgery, you're going to have to inject yourself. It's a teeny tiny needle. It's not a big deal. And it's so worth it. And it helps you repair the tissue. It helps with bone healing and it lowers inflammation. A lot of people use this peptide for their gut when you have gut issues. So it's great for your gut, especially after your gut's gone through antibiotics and other things, and the medication as well. It's taken a real hit. So you want to repair the gut as well. And BPC 157 is one of those simple, it's like one of the most common peptides ever, and it's very, very safe. Of course, you got to talk to your doctor about this, but and you don't just do it willy-nilly. But I would direct you to the Boulder Longevity Institute or Natalie Nidham, who's a peptide expert, and I have another contact, Rowan Sanderson from the Hormone Balance Clinic. And all of these three sort of people and institutions guided me a lot with this. Thymosin beta 4 is another great peptide. Sometimes there's a synthetic version called TB500, which is also fabulous. And it's just a bit more targeted and it's a bit cheaper. That helps with the muscle recovery. It heals your tendons and ligaments, and it reduces the inflammation. And so that's the kind of another injectable. You don't have to do it all the time.
Yeah, I want to step in here and say, we're really nerding out here. So if you're listening to this and you're like, OMG, there's no possible way I could do all that. Pick and choose. You don't have to do it all. We're talking to a biohacker here. Okay. Zora specializes in this, in longevity and biohacking your body and your life. Okay. That if you're not a biohacker, which most people listening aren't, just take it with a grain of salt. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, and take a few of these suggestions, run with them, and basically strengthen your body in the best ways you can, in the best way you will, right? It doesn't have to be all of it. You don't want to do nothing. You want to do something, but you don't have to do everything.
Exactly. I'm so glad you reiterated that because this is next level. So everything I said before, most of it's free, most of we can do, most of it's very accessible, and most of the time you don't have to ask your doctor. But this is next level, and that's when you need a little bit of guidance, and it can sound like a little like alphabet soup and gobbledygook, but you'll probably hear more and more about it as years come around. So you heard it here first.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you could listen to Zora's podcast if you're really into the nerdy stuff. She's next level all the time.
The last one, which is again a little nerdy, but if you want to protect your brain, it's called cerebrolysin, and you do an IV drip, and it's a neuropeptide. Again, it just helps with the nerves and reduce inflammation and the brain. But the one thing that's really accessible that you don't need a doctor for, obviously run everything by your doctor, even if it's just a simple vitamin C, but methylene blue is something that is quite simple. You can get it online, and it was actually the very first drug that existed on the planet before pharmaceuticals came. So it's been around for a long time, but now you can buy it online, and it's a little dye. It used to be a textile dye, and then they found out it's a cure for infectious diseases and an antidotes for cyanide poisoning. And now it just helps with, it's an antimicrobial, it's an antifungal, antiviral. It helps with mitochondrial function. Mitochondria are those little powerhouses in the cell, and the cells need to be in a good condition in order to communicate, to heal and repair. So this is comes in a troche or drops. It's very, very simple. Don't mix this if you're on SSRIs. There are contraindications. Read up on it. But methylene blue is another really cool thing. And I figure, you know what? I was in the hospital for 4 days, and all kinds of viruses and bacteria and things are flying around. So I was like, I'm just going to take this. It's simple. And I did that quite easily. that's it for the pre and the post surgery. But I have some hacks for scars. So you're going to have a big old scar and you want to heal that. If you want to look nice, well, then you have to deal with it. So some of this, the first thing that's very accessible is rose hip oil. You can get that anywhere. I got mine at a pharmacy, and you just rub it. And as soon as the scar, you take out your stitches or your staples or whatever it is, you can start rubbing that on. I do it for 5 minutes twice a day. And it's simple. The other next level thing is silicone tape. You can, again, it's quite easy to find. It's silicone, and you just put it on your scar. I think you start off with a couple of hours a day, and then you build up to 24 hours a day. And it's not very expensive either. Then there's scar tape. And that's different because it's mechanical. It uses pressure and moisture. It protects from the UV light, and you can leave it on for up to a week. I don't do more than like 4 days, but that is, I will let you know how that works out because I'm on month 4 now. The scar's healing well, we'll see. But that's kind of expensive. So I like keep my strips, I cut them and make them as small as I possibly can. I will let you know how that works. But the other really big game changer is a peptide. You don't have to inject. It comes in a cream or a serum, and it's called GHKCU. It's a copper peptide, and that helps with collagen. It helps speed up the wound healing, and you just put it on every day for like 1 to 2 months. And then I'm going to be taking photos of both my legs, one with it and one without, and I'll let you know how that works out. And then there's massage, manual therapy. You want to be, getting the tissue around more malleable, and you can get a therapist to do this. And then there's lasers. There's 3 different kinds of lasers that are generally used for scars. One is pulsed dye laser, fractional CO2 lasers, and intense pulsed light. And I got the intense pulsed light. And I will be doing that as soon as I get my staples out with my second one, and that will help with the color, discoloration and all that. And probably the simplest hack is to stay out of the sun. Make sure or at least cover it from the sun if you want it to fade. And I think that's about it.
Oh my
God, squeeze it all in.
Amazing, Zora. Great job. Amazing stuff. I know if anybody wants this information, they need to take notes, listen again and take notes. And you should really write like a little mini guide or something, put it on Amazon, because this is so amazing. Really good stuff. Thank you for laying all that out. And again, reinforcing that we're not passive people in our surgery journey. It's like we are co-creating the results we want, by our participation, by what we're putting in our body, by what we're not putting in our body. All the more reason, if you're an emotional eater, binge eater, to get support with that so that you can follow through on good, healthy choices for your body, because that is going to make a big difference in how your body responds to the trauma of surgery. And surgery is traumatic for the body. They're cutting you, they're injecting you with things, and you want to be prepared so you can heal quickly and thoroughly. So Zora, thank you so much. And tell everybody your podcast so people can go, nerd out with you further.
It's called Hack My Age, and it's on Apple and Spotify and all the places you're going to listen to your podcast. So yeah, and we have amazing guests, including you. And your episode is coming out.
I love that. Well, that was super fun being on your show. So thanks so much for playing with us today and sharing such incredibly hard-won, valuable information, and well-researched as well. I know you reached out to the best of the best to get their recommendations. And then the fact that you're sharing it here with us is so generous. So thank you for that, and happy continued healing for you.
Oh, thank you so much, Tricia.
Yeah, great to be with you. Thanks, everybody. We'll catch you on the next show. If you're ready to get off the dieting roller coaster ride and finally make peace with food and with your body, talk to a Heal Your Hunger mentor about what steps you need to take based on your own history with food and weight. Go to healyourhunger.com and register for an emotional eating breakthrough session and see how fast you can experience real change. It's a complimentary evaluation, but there are limited spots available. So go to healyourhunger.com and register to speak with a mentor today.